everyone. So you are here today if you are interested in the Raleigh Career Trek, and I am so excited to have you all here. My name is Jessie Simonik. I'm an assistant director in the Career Center, and I am the program manager who is working on creating an awesome opportunity and event for you all. So this session is just to dive a little bit deeper into what a Raleigh Career Trek is, kind of go over what our expectations are, where we'll be visiting, and dig a little bit deeper into the application process. So just so you all know, this trek is going to be hosted over fall break. We plan that specifically so that way you won't be missing classes, right? So it's Monday, October 10th through Tuesday, October 11th. So on today's agenda, again, brief introduction about the Career Treks program in general. I also want to discuss the Raleigh Career Trek that we have set up thus far, still in the planning stages, talk through the application process, but most importantly, also answer any questions that you all might have about the event. So let's jump on in. As the Career Treks program manager, we've seen a lot of change over the past couple of years. We have not had an in-person career trek since obviously before the pandemic. But we're excited because this fall we're finally feeling back to normal, right? And so we're having the opportunity to actually go to different employers to get behind the scenes tours, network, have conversations, and learn about different job functions outside of a virtual space. So this is exciting for us. So these are some examples of previous treks that we've hosted before. The whole point of a career trek is to, again, go and experience different industries, different company cultures, get that behind the scenes feel outside of the classroom, and again, have the opportunity to learn about different job functions. So this is really a lot about career exploration, figuring out what would be a good fit for you, your background, and talking to current professionals who might have a job that sounds really interesting to you or that you've never heard of. So we're introducing you to kind of this whole world of work outside of the classroom space. So again, typically what a career trek consists of is a tour, an overview about the company or organization. Sometimes they talk about internship opportunities, full-time jobs. They're not always necessarily hiring, but they'll talk regardless about those job functions that kind of create the core of their company. And then some sort of opportunity to network. Sometimes that looks like a panel of employees that talk about a day in the life, what they do on a regular basis, how they got interested in the field. They talk about the application process and just generally speaking, giving advice to students. Other times the opportunity to network might be over a luncheon or even an opportunity to do some speed networking. So kind of, again, bouncing around in small groups at the trek location and having small conversations with individual employees just to have, again, a better understanding and knowledge process of those different job types. So usually, and we're back to this now that, again, things are back to normal, we host around 5 career treks each semester. Again, for the past couple of years, these have been virtual. Starting now, we're hosting these in person. Our first career trek, just as a little plug, aside from this Raleigh trek, will be at Deloitte on Friday, September 16th as part of the Business, Financial Services, and Logistics Career Community Week. All of our treks are aligned with our Career Community Weeks typically, but you might see a couple more pop up. So again, some samples from the treks from the past. We visited places like the South Carolina Department of Probation, Parole, and Pardon Services. We visited Fastenal. We visited the local Charlotte PBS. So we, again, try to visit with employers of a wide variety of different industries to really expose you all to, lots of different company cultures. So this career trek that I'm talking to you all about today is going to be our 4th overnight career trek that we've hosted since the existence of the Treks program. Treks started back in spring of 2016, and this is the first one we've had, of course, since the pandemic. So I'm highlighting here our Washington, D.C. trek. This was back in fall of 2018, but that's an example of another overnight career trek that we've taken students on before. We've taken groups to Washington, D.C. Our very first was ironically to the Raleigh area to research Triangle Park, that previous year, and we've also taken a group of students to Atlanta. So today this fall, we're returning kind of full circle to Raleigh, especially knowing that many of you might be from that area. You might be interested in going to that area post-graduation for employment, and we have a ton of alumni in the Raleigh area as well, which is something that's key to a trek. So to talk a little bit about Career Trek student experiences, I wanted to highlight some testimonials from previous overnight trek participants. This is tiny for my friends who are online and even for you all, so I'll just read through them real quick. The Career Center put on an exceptional overnight career trek that blew me away for the ability to not only shake hands and get a brief face-to-face introduction of the organizations and government agencies, this is in DC, but to be able to talk in a group setting or one-on-one setting with the HR directors and reps from each organization, as well as meeting with alumni to understand their perspective on living in DC. That's another key component to this opportunity, which I'll dive into a little bit more. Somebody else said, I met so many people and will create real lasting connections with many of them. Thank you to everyone who put work into this trek. I'm very grateful. And then lastly, the DC Career Trek was very educational. I enjoyed having the opportunity to meet with different employers and experience DC's culture. So that's one of the core reasons why we are hosting these opportunities, is to, again, allow you all to experience, yes, absolutely, company cultures, organizations cultures, learn about different job functions, learn more about different industries, but also taking, of course, an opportunity to visit a city outside of Charlotte. Knowing that, yeah, many of our students do end up staying in the Charlotte area, but a lot of folks do want to experience life outside of the Queen City. So we're kind of opening this opportunity for y'all there. Which leads me to the purpose of this coming career trek. So again, like I've honed in on a little bit, explaining what treks are, the goal of career treks is to really learn about different opportunities, to learn about a variety of different employers, to gain insight into what it's like to actually, again, work for a particular industry-related function, and to also, of course, connect. So I want you to connect, if you are accepted for this program, with, of course, the employers that we visit. We're going to meet a lot of different professionals who are going to highlight their, again, their day-to-day responsibilities, talk to you all about what it's like to work for their particular company. But simultaneously, we're also going to be meeting with a lot of alum, because part of the career trek will involve an alumni networking reception. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then again, the purpose too is to grow. So maybe you've never thought about moving to Raleigh. Maybe you've never thought about working for one of the companies that I'm going to highlight that's part of our itinerary. That's part of this process too. I want you to expand, again, your thoughts when it comes to your career goals. Maybe learn about a job function you've never heard of before. And of course, also thinking about growing your network, right? External to Charlotte and Raleigh specifically, but that's one of the main objectives of this. I'll pause here. Any questions so far? Cool. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Is it free?
Oh, that's a great question. We're going to get to that. Okay. But spoiler alert, yes, it is. So that's another major bonus of this program. But I'll talk about that. Thank you for asking. And you're going to be shocked by why it's free, because we have a lot of really cool stuff packed into this itinerary. So I won't read this verbatim to you all, and for my friends who are online, this is actually going to be published on our website, so you can access this PowerPoint presentation as well. But to give you kind of a snippet of what we're expecting. So this is a 2-day event. My goal is that we're going to be visiting 4, maybe 5 employers within those 2 days, in addition to attend a networking reception on the evening of Monday, October 10th. That reception is in collaboration with our Alumni Association. So they are helping us with that opportunity and pulling alumni into the networking event as well. So we will have a really jam-packed day, as you can see. It'll likely start around 6:15 a.m. That's when we'll meet on campus. We will, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, we will be taking a chartered bus to and from all of the places that we're visiting, so nobody's expected to drive. I'm not signing up to drive, y'all. We have somebody else doing that for us. But leaving campus quite early. And then our first employer visit will be around 9:15. Each employer visit will be anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours in length. So it's a short visit, but let me tell you, the itinerary and the agendas that I've been discussing with our employer hosts are going to be really great. They're jam-packed as well, but you'll learn a lot in that short amount of time. So we'll have 1, 2, potentially 3 visits on Monday. Then we'll have a short break at our hotel that we'll check into before we go back out to the networking reception and return back to the hotel around 9, totally exhausted, but full of new information, right? Hopefully lots of new contacts. Then on Tuesday, again, we'll have breakfast at the hotel. We're staying at a Hampton Inn. I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Breakfast is free at the hotel. And then we'll visit, again, probably 2 more employers on Tuesday before we return back to campus. Jam-packed itinerary, right? But again, lots of opportunity to meet employers, to meet new alumni, and again, build your network and knowledge of these potential companies and job functions. So again, don't hold me to this particular itinerary. It's still in progress, but I'll talk about this. So like I said, our goal is to visit at least 4, potentially 5 within that 2-day period. The employers that we're targeting and that we're communicating with are employers within the business, financial services, and logistics industries, and then also folks who fall into the technology, data, and analytics industries. So yes, those are pretty, again, all-inclusive when it comes to specifics. So the folks that we're visiting will have opportunities for students from both of those particular areas. And again, our goal, of course, is to showcase a variety of opportunities and employers within these particular areas. So we are visiting kind of an accounting and a consulting firm. But if you are a tech person and have never considered that, there's going to be discussing like tech opportunities there. And if you're not an accounting person and you've never considered working for an accounting firm, we'll be covering all of the other kind of business functions that go into a space like this. So right now, these are the 3 that we have confirmed as our employers that we'll be visiting. The State Employees Credit Union Foundation, SECU, Willow Tree, which is a tech consulting company, and Elliott Davis, which is my accounting consulting firm. These 3 are solidified. We are in final conversations with 2 other employers. I'm not going to announce what those other employers are yet, just because I want to make sure that they are finalized, right? But they are, again, in kind of these particular industry areas. So, exciting stuff. Let's talk through some of those behind-the-scenes logistics. First and foremost, how will we get there? I already kind of showed you all this or implied this, but we'll be taking one of these fancy schmancy 24-passenger minibuses from Rose Transportation, and we will be staying at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Raleigh. Fun fact, each student will have their own room, so you will not be assigned to a roommate. This is the first time we've actually done this. All of the other overnight treks we've had, students were partnered with somebody else. So we had it in the budget. And we're excited about that. Which brings me to budget. I don't have a specific slide on this, but technically this trip, for all intents and purposes, is free for students that are selected. But I'll get there. So there's a reason that there's an application process. And again, I'm going to jump into that. But that's a pretty sweet deal. Your own hotel room, right? And transportation to and from. Meals will be provided by the employers that we'll be visiting on Monday and Tuesday, specifically lunches. I mentioned that there's free breakfast at the hotel on Tuesday morning. The networking reception that we are going to attend in conjunction, again, with the Alumni Association, will be providing heavy hors d'oeuvres, appetizers, beverages. So that's going to be dinner for Monday night, okay? The only thing that you'll have to provide is your own breakfast, preferably before you show up really early in the morning at 6:15 on Monday. And then potentially, depending on what time it is, we might stop for dinner at like a fast food restaurant on the way home on Tuesday before we get dropped off on campus. So, pretty easy there. And snacks and water, you all can provide that. But we'll also be throwing in some snacks too. Attire-wise, for the entire event, including the employer visits and also the networking reception, I am requiring business casual attire. You don't have to wear a full suit by any means. For those of you who are selected to participate, I recommend bringing a couple of outfit options. Monday especially is a really long day. 2, maybe 3 employer visits, an early wake-up call, and then that networking reception. So I personally would probably bring something separate to wear to the Monday networking reception, but we'll get into those weeds if you're selected. I'll tell you more details. If you don't know about this already and you're thinking, gosh, I could really brush up on some of my business casual attire, we do have a professional clothing closet here in the University Career Center. So again, I can share more detail about that, but that's definitely a resource that we offer if that's something that you're interested in. Now let's dig into the application process. So for all intents and purposes, career treks that are local to Charlotte, so like the Deloitte career trek that I mentioned earlier, you don't have to apply. All you simply do is register via Hire a Niner. Not so much for this, and hopefully after explaining it, you understand why, but there's a lot of work and effort that has gone into creating this event for you all, not only from our team, but of course with our employer partners and the alumni who we're visiting with. So that's why it is a selective application process. We are only selecting 14 students for this event, and I'll email this to you all so you have it, but the exact application requirements are detailed on this website that I list up here. It's career.charlotte.edu/treks. You'll find it right at the top of that page. So basically, to go over what that means, I have a Google form that collects your basic information, name, academic major, stuff like that. You also have to upload your resume to Hire a Niner and have it approved by Friday, September 16th at 5:00 p.m. If you already have your resume uploaded and approved in the Hire a Niner system, awesome, you're good to go. You've easily checked that, box on the application. For those of you who are not aware of the application or the resume approval process, for you to be able to, for example, apply to any of the part-time jobs, internships, or full-time jobs on Hire a Niner, you have to upload your document to Hire a Niner, and then it goes through an approval process from our team. It takes 24 to 48 business hours for us to review your resume. We will look at it based off of a specific form that we have that provides an outline as to exactly what we're looking for. If your resume looks good according to our standards, we'll approve it. If it needs some work, we'll respond to you with some specific items that you need to check on and to edit before you can resubmit. So plan for this. If this is an event that you really are interested in, you don't have your resume uploaded yet, I would start on this process sooner rather than later. And the whole reason we have a resume approval process is to make sure that your document is looking as professional as possible. You're putting your best foot forward when you're connecting with those employers. And then the other piece that I'm going to require is responses to 4 specific questions on Big Interview. Big Interview is a practice interview platform accessible to all students. There's details listed on this website up here. Again, the application overview with exactly how to find the Raleigh Career Trek questions. And I'll talk about that in a second as well. And then the last piece, going back to your question, is this free? Yes, with a slight exception of, if you are selected to participate, you are required to submit a refundable $50 deposit. And again, if you're selected to participate, I'll send you email information providing details about how to go about doing that. It's through Hire a Niner. Basically, that's your commitment to me that you are going to attend, that you're going to participate, that you will follow the expectations that we lay out as a representative of the university. And if all goes well, you attend, everything goes great, which it will, you'll be refunded that $50 fee once we return back to campus. Not immediately, but it will be within that week or two. Okay, make sense? Awesome. I also, for our participants who are selected, so the 14 students who go through this application process we select, you will have to attend 2 pre-trek preparation sessions. These are mandatory. Dates have not been solidified because I'm going to poll those who are selected to see what makes the most sense based off of your schedules. So do know that we will host 2 prep sessions, basically talking in much more detail about what to expect, how to talk to employers, how to introduce yourself, so kind of those networking basics, in addition to more specific details about your expectations as a student on this event. And again, that's the only fee involved. And if all goes well, you show up, you again put your best foot forward, which again I know you will, cross some fingers you will, you'll get that $50 deposit refunded. Questions so far? Yeah.
So the deadline for the application is September 16th.
Yeah, so to confirm, the deadline ultimately is Friday, September 16th. That's when you have to have all of this stuff done. So there's not one easy form to fill out. As you can see, it's multiple steps, but you have to have all of that done by September 16th at 5. So, oh yeah, go ahead.
So I have my resume approved from the Career Center, but I re-uploaded like revised versions of it. Do I need to get those approved as well?
No, that's a great question. Once you have one resume that's been approved in HireNiner, you're good to go. We assume you've got the basics covered, you understand how to write a resume, that's completely fine.
Okay.
So again, you already have one of the steps in that process covered.
Okay. Thank you.
How to stand out as an applicant. Get your information in on time, first and foremost. But specifically here, I'm referencing the questions that I am asking you via the Big Interview platform. I'm not going to tell you the exact questions that are being asked, but because you're attending this information session, you have a little bit of a heads up. Be able to articulate why you want to attend this career track. What does it mean to you? Are you exploring careers and you're curious to learn more about these particular employers? Awesome. Has it always been a lifelong goal of yours to work for Willow Tree? Great, we're gonna visit that. But be able to, again, truly professionally articulate why you want to join. Understand and explain why this opportunity is an important opportunity for you and your career goals. So how does this align with, again, what you're thinking about career-wise? I'm not requesting that you tell me exactly what you want to do with the rest of your life. Realistically, who does? But again, I want you to also be able to outline where you're leaning, okay, what your goals are. And then lastly, be yourself, right? Showcase your personality. I think this is kind of a unique version of an application process, but that's the whole point. I want to make sure that you're ready to have conversations with employers, first and foremost, and that you're excited to learn and connect. Real briefly, I'm going to talk about the cancellation policy. So if you are selected as a participant, so you're one of the 14, you must cancel, and for some reason it turns out that you have to cancel your registration, because we're very likely going to have a wait list for this, right? You have to let me know by Friday, September 30th at 5 o'clock. That's about 2 weeks before the trek itself. Selected participants that cancel their registration after Friday, September 30th at 5 will lose access to their HireNiner account until appropriate steps are taken. I won't go into those details because hopefully this won't affect you. But to give you a heads up, information would be sent your way, and you will also not receive a refund on that $50 deposit. Okay? So again, that's really solidifying your confirmation. The no-show policy, just to give you a brief overview, basically you have to write a letter of apology to the career track hosts as to why you canceled or no-showed. And then your HireNiner account privileges are basically put on hold until you do this, and or if you don't meet with a career coach, if it's not done within a certain amount of time. So this information is located on our website. I don't want to scare you off at all, but do know that we take canceling and we take no-shows, especially for this career track, very seriously in this office. Okay, so I'm going to highlight a couple of resources as you're thinking through the different steps in the application process, that resume, your interview skills. Do know that we have a lot of resources to help you prepare. One example, of course, is this career guide. In this awesome resource, which is located right off the main page of our website, career.charlotte.edu. You'll find a whole section on how to prepare for interviews, also a whole section on resume writing. So definitely check this out if you need to brush up on those particular areas. And then do know that now that fall semester is in full session, we are offering drop-ins from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day of the work week, Monday through Friday. So you can pop in and have somebody take a peek at your resume, get some feedback, especially if you did submit it to Hire9er and it was returned, you might want to consider having somebody take a look at it. If you think you'd like to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a career coach to discuss this further, to discuss networking, whatever the case might be, feel free to schedule that appointment via Hire9er. All right, and that brings me to the end of our overview. So I am very excited about this trip. I'm excited you all joined me today. If you have any questions beyond what I covered today, please feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, the application is available and live, ready to go on our main website. So I hope to see many of you apply.